Buenos dias. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Kings on Deck. It's been a bit. It's been a minute, right? Been a
Yeah,
couple
we've
weeks.
had scheduling We haven't. I don't think we've done a show since the post Louisville
Oh man,
loss, just because we've had. Yes, I obviously traveled overseas. Jazz had a
right.
work thing. We just haven't been able to sync up. So we got a lot of player movement in the interim there.
Speaking of player movements, before we even get it going and start talking recruiting and transfer portal, because we got a lot to talk about there, I want to give a shout out to the Pro Canes guys making some noise in Major League Baseball. Um, right now, guys that are in the league, Slade Ciccone, right, pitching well. I'm not sure if he's injured right now or whatnot, but I know he's in the league. Carson Palmquist is up there with Colorado doing this thing. I know Brian Van Bell got called up by the Red Sox, didn't play, but it was on the team and then got traded to Cincinnati, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it was
I think he's with the Reds or St. Louis, one or the other.
well. CCH is here, so he'll definitely.
Let's talk about the real issue at hand. Let's talk about the real issue in Major League Baseball right now. Okay? I don't know what the hell's going on in Cleveland, but y'all need to wake the hell up over there and call up your boy CJ Kafis. Okay? Because he is tearing up minor league baseball. He's one of the best players out there. And he just continued. He had a bomb off of Max Scherzer the other day on one of his rehab assignments. And I'm like, what are we doing? What are you doing, Cleveland? Call his ass already.
So I'm not as familiar with Major League Baseball contract rules, but I know the Marlins frequently keep people down in the minors longer.
Don't even bring up them. Although
No, but as a mechanism, because you keep them, when they go to arbitration, it makes it more team friendly. So that's actually what keeps. And the Marlins aren't the only ones who do it; they just do it by default. Most teams will sacrifice the contract leverage to get the player up to the majors if they're ready. The Marlins won't do. They keep players in the minors far past they should.
Marlins will do a lot of things. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, but so I do know that there are contract, ramifications for calling people up because it starts their years in service. So
it's a shame though. He should be there. Andrew Walters gets called up and then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
So, but CJ Kavus is having himself one hell of a season in the minor league, and so is Brian Van Bell. I know he should be getting called up soon.
Well, he did, and hopefully will again.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. He had a hell of an outing recently. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was yesterday. He struck out like 7 guys. Another guy that's doing good is as we mentioned, Slade Ciccone and Brian and Van Bell. I did mention Van Bell. But yeah, those guys, I mean, Pro Canes, man, let's go. Keep it going. Keep balling. And by the way, you got to give a shot. I mean, the Marlins have won 7 in a row. They're they won.
Yep. They've climbed out of last place is a time.
That's right.
They're no longer last place
anymore. That's right. That's right. A shout out to those guys over there. Good for them. Good for the Marlins. Speaking of baseball, there's some things going on here at Mark Light and down here in Coral Gables that I think most Miami fans, most Miami baseball fans would definitely want to know about, and that's the fact that your Miami Hurricanes are, I mean, for all intents and purposes, kicking ass on the recruiting trail, well, on the transfer portal trail, I guess you could say. From a recruiting standpoint, I think right now we're just in a wait and see to see what happens in the draft. But they do have some really good prospects coming in that are young. That are, Gabby Milano is one of them. I know everybody's talking about Milano being a big prospect. I know Mangana, whatever. He's another shortstop kid from Columbus. They've got some really good prospects. I'm sure CCH could list all of them there for me if you want.
Yeah, we'll probably tackle that after the draft because
see what's left.
yeah. It's the big trick with recruiting in baseball. Like if you get the too high high caliber players, they are going to show up. So it's kind of splitting the difference there, reading the room in terms of this guy's actually more interested in going to college because the minor league life is not fun. So some players prefer to just go to college, shorten the time they'll spend in the minors. So you got to kind of get the read on them, figure out who's like unlikely to sign and target them. It's a very challenging situation. I guess before we start talking about and as CC said, we still have work to do in the portal, and it's a big fish. I'm just gonna read off who is transferring out and get take on anyone that might have surprised or anyone that that's on. So Arizaga, Marsh, Puig, Kulo, Jackson Cleveland, Renzo, Todd Hudson, Amari DeJesus, and Ryan Ashford are the players that have left. Not a lot of surprises there. I would say the one for me that did a little bit, I mean, not catch me off guard when it happened because we knew it was going to happen, but I thought, given as CCH is talking about, we still, even though we've landed a couple of pitchers we're going to talk about, we need more. I'm surprised that we didn't, that Jackson Cleveland entered the portal. Obviously landed at Oklahoma, so he's pitching in the SEC, so it's not a talent issue. And that was one where I'm like, I think we could really use that arm in our pitching room.
You know how we are, Vish, right? We're very honest. We're very straightforward with what we feel and how we talk. We're not necessarily knocking everybody or telling everybody that they're doing something wrong, they're doing their job wrong, or gotta tell them off in a disrespectful way. With all due respect, I think that maybe the staff got this one wrong with regards to evaluation towards the end of the season, right? Because we all know that after the season is over, teams sit down one-on-one and they evaluate players, what their future is going to be with the program, what their future is not going to be, whether they should consider hopping in the portal, blah blah blah, or hop in the draft, whatever the case is, right? And so I know there's some players that have considered getting hopping in the draft, and some players that are coming back now. But the kids that some of the kids that get an evaluation, like a Jackson Cleveland, I think they might have gotten it wrong on him, and it's not to say that some of the other guys didn't get it wrong on or they didn't get it right on. Because some of the guys they could have told, hey, we want you back. We think that you can develop into something, decent here. Give it a shot or whatever. And they say, you know what, I'm going to take my chances elsewhere, where I can start getting that playing time right off the bat. So I think that's what happened with maybe a guy like Kulikowski, who you saw the development started to come around finally, but this is his third year. At some point, he's got to be able to be on his own and start already, get that playing time.
Yeah, and the reason I called out Jackson specifically is I feel like we're still short on pitchers.
Yeah.
And CCH called out we still need some pitching help. So he was one where I'm surprised we weren't able to figure out a way to say, hey, this is a role, we need you. The other ones, like you mentioned, Kulo was coming around. He was huge in supers. But we still have Derek Williams. We still have Max Galvin right now. Like it looks like they're coming back. Fabio recommitted on his Instagram. Yep. He never entered the portal, but he kind of, obviously, all of a sudden, Mikey Torres turned into Kenny Lofton in the regionals and super. So there's just a crowded, there's a crowded outfield. So for Kulo,
plus the guys coming in, right?
Yeah, the guys coming in as well. It's hard to see the playing time there. And so that was that. So and like someone like Marsh, who started off really hot and then kind of struggled big time down the stretch and kind of fell. So it's not no knock against these guys, but it's not surprising that all right, they probably need to look, Arzaga somehow, even though he was I think our highest rated high school recruit last year, was behind Vigoti and several other guys in the rotation on the infield. Not surprising, he entered the portal. So I think we lost some talent, frankly, but nothing surprised me other than, I still, when you see someone that I feel, and to CJ's point, look, Jackson was the closer. He struggled, kind of moved out of that role, was kind of on the edge of getting consistently in, did pitch well in the postseason. So, maybe not, I don't know. We're not going to go into too much detail on exactly what happened there, but it's hard to look at our current pitching room and be like, oh, we couldn't use him, and that's kind of why that one surprised me a little bit, that we weren't able to kind of try to figure something out there. The other ones we lost.
The good thing is that I think that some of some of the guys that, and again, they haven't actually. As a matter of fact, tomorrow is the last day that you can announce that you're going to the transfer portal in baseball. Tomorrow is the last day, July 1st. So you might be hearing some new names that might catch you off guard, or that you might be like, oh yeah, I thought that would happen either way. Because you know what happens, Vish, and we all know this, right? They could have already entered the portal, but they haven't made it public because all the back channeling, all that stuff that goes on behind the scenes, with every team, with every player. They might not want to announce it yet, just in case it doesn't go right, and they come back. Right, that happens all the time. But I know some of the pitchers, some of those guys. It's something like Alachi, right? Alachi is a kid that I don't want to leave. He has all the stuff, and I don't want him to leave. I don't know if it's if he is in the portal or not, secretly, but that's a kid that I definitely want to kind of stick around and develop. I think he's got the goods. There's some other guys out there like a Puig or something like that Taveras, especially now with the addition of Alex Sosa behind the dish, it's going to be tough for Johnson and Taveras both to stick around and play. So I think that the biggest question marks are who's actually going to come in the portal. We need some guys. We need some arms, like CCH said. We need some arms. I know that it's great to bring in a guy like Michael Taylor, who's going to help you out in the back end on the bullpen, who's a really good, solid arm. But I love the Easton Marks pickup. I've spoken to a couple of different people who have seen him throw, who know where he's from, his high school days. And they say that's a huge pickup for us. That's a guy. That's obviously a guy that's
going to start. I actually was interested to get your take on him because you'd been, and we talked about this, but certainly you've been banging this drum. We need more power arms. This is a power arm. Other than Walt, like Griffin was more of a bulldog type of pitcher. We didn't have the, guys coming in throwing gas like this other than Walt. So yeah, when I saw that one come across the ticker, I'm like, that is so what Jazz is going to be really excited about.
When I saw it, I unfortunately I didn't get to see him pitch, and the kid's in our backyard, but to see a kid with a live arm like that touches 97, he sits at, let's say 92 to 95 consistently. He's got some secondary pitches as well. I'm excited about seeing him in the rotation. I think he's got an opportunity to be our Friday guy or our Saturday guy mixed in with Siskar, who apparently was pitching tonight, if I'm not mistaken. I think CCH mentioned that Siskar was pitching tonight in the Cape.
Yeah, he was getting a couple of innings, and Cuvée was starting as well.
So. Cuvée was starting. I know Cuvée and Alex Sosa are on the same team. I know Vance Sheehan is playing up there as well. I know he's had some pretty good at-bats. I know that some of the guys that are playing up there are doing really well. If I'm not mistaken, there was another one. Who the hell am I missing that was doing really well? Oh, Degody. Degody was another kid that was apparently tearing the cover off the ball and up there, which, hey, listen, Degody had 2 home runs this year, all right? The kid's got some pop for being 5'2". He also throws 90 off the mound, okay? By the way, he actually was a really good pitcher in high school, but, I mean, yeah, it's high school, man. So, but
it did not translate to the college level. I'll just leave that there.
But that's huge. If Degody sticks around, he develops, he gains some muscle, he gets a little bit bigger. He's a good infielder, right? We saw his actions at short and at second base. I think he provides some depth there on defense. But I think he also provides, if he's hitting the ball the way he is, then he provides an additional bat, right? Maybe an opportunity to get in the lineup more often. So that's good to see from him. You know what you're going to get with Cuvée. You know at this point what you're probably going to get with Siskar and Sheehan, and but the one that look, Easton, again, I'm going to go back to Easton Marks really quick. This is huge, man, for me. A guy like Easton Marks coming in, a power arm, something Miami truly needed. If you can get one more of those guys and some guys to fill the back end of the bullpen, I think the problem is that Nick Roberts not going to come back until probably mid-season or so with Tommy John. So you're going to have to fill a void in the back end as a closer. Who's your closer going to be? Is it going to be a new kid, young kid, or a transfer kid that's going to come in that can get guys out? I don't care how hard he throws, just get guys out. We'll see. It's yet to be determined. But
the one just concern with Easton Marks is he is very draftable.
Yes.
So we got fingers crossed on that one. We need him in this rotation, and he, hopefully he chooses to come to Miami versus, get drafted.
And I know I love Griffin. I thought Griffin was going to come back because I didn't think that towards the end of the season he kind of digressed a little bit because he's not used to pitching so much, right? He was a two-way guy, so I thought maybe he can come back and still make some money in the NIL, but also pitch some more, really develop some of his other pitches, and become a true number one, or even a number two at this point in ACC baseball, and be drafted higher. But we're talking about second, third round grades for Griffin Hugas right now. So if I'm him, no brainer, I'm going too.
Yeah, so. And I think he knew that because he, now with the portal and like what feels like infinite eligibility, right? A lot of these players have a decision to make on senior day whether they want to go out there or not. He went out there, which to me, they're obviously hearing from scouts. They kind of have a ballpark of where, right? I think he knew he was going to be a high round grade, and yeah, he was going to take that opportunity, like you said, second, third round. That's kind of a no brainer at this point. You're not going to improve on that.
Shout out to and so who's having a really good minor league campaign also. But
yeah, he'll be we're gonna have guys all over the majors again in a couple of years.
I'm excited about that, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. We haven't even talked about Yo-Yo, who's also playing well. So So yeah, I guess the other part, and we're going to talk about Sosa. I'm curious. Like, so there are some question marks of players that haven't entered the portal that are potentially draftable that we just don't like. We're thinking we're going to get Jake and Max and Derek back. I don't think any of them are going to other schools, but that the draft and signing bonus and all that looms a little bit.
Yeah, Max could get drafted. I don't think he'd get drafted until late. Same thing with Derek Williams because of his injury. Might not get drafted until late also. But they all have good traits, good draftable traits, and that's something where I think the reason why Max will hold off is because I think they're going to see Max as a guy who needs to add some more power to his game. Right? He's a decent outfielder, pretty good outfielder, not bad. But I think he needs to add a little more pop to his game. They see it. It's there. Extract it a little bit more. Could they do that in the pros? Possibly. Do they maybe want to see it a little bit more in college? Yes. And I think that's why he might wait around a little bit, not get drafted so high.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough for them, right? Like, so because they do lose their leverage if they run their eligibility out. So right now they have signing bonus leverage. So
true.
It's and everyone, they make an individual decision. It's I don't want to read too much into this because it was the immediacy of losing to Louisville, but Max and Will Smith were the ones that did the post-loss press conference, and he was already talking about next year we got to be better early in the season so we can play these games at home, and like he was very much at that point, again, immediacy of a loss. He was very much in the next year we're not losing in this round. We're going to Omaha. It was his attitude.
Guys I wish had eligibility. I wish Will Smith had another year.
Yeah, Will Smith was obviously he knew his career was over, so he was reflecting on his time in Miami, his career overall. He's not gonna go pro, so he was basically like, that's the last time I'm gonna pitch. So it's a very different kind of dichotomy there with Max really talking about things we need to do better next year.
I'm doing with Will. You know what I'm doing with Will? My Sunday morning men's league. That's
you're still planning on cheating at Sunday morning men's league. My old friend Will. We went to Barry together. Trust me, he's not a ringer. Yeah, but so at least at that point, I think Max was like, I'm coming back. But then
he's the most important piece.
I think I would say it was Jake. I think Jake Ogden is.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Yeah, I thought you were pointing at Jake Ogden. My bad. Jake Ogden is the most important piece. Hands down. Yeah.
Because you get him back. We mentioned Shaheen. You can put him at second. Right. You got Cuvée at third. You got Brylan West at first, and we haven't talked about your boy Sosa, which we're going to talk about in a second. Behind the dish. That is an elite infield right around the horn there. That might be the best infield in the country, just around the horn.
We didn't even talk about. I know we talk about Brylan West. a little bit
earlier. Well, Brylan West
committed
when we were still playing. He committed like when we were headed to regionals. So like we didn't really we mentioned it, but we were focused on trying to get to Omaha.
Talk about and you don't even have you don't have on the list who's considered technically a transfer is Cian Copeland, a kid out of Miami-Dade, who's another big.
Right, yeah.
Huge get, right? 6'4" guy. He's a big kid. Another lefty, but he can stroke it, man. He can hit the cover off the ball. Bringing that guy in also to maybe DH, play a little bit of the outfield, maybe first base a little bit, switch up with Brylan a little bit. You got a lot of opportunity there with him. But yeah, to me, the biggest pickup so far in the transfer border for me is Alex Sosa, and he's a catcher over at NC State. When we saw him obviously play live here, he's a Florida kid from Vieira, Florida. A lot of family in Miami. I actually work with one of his family members, and we talk a little bit about it. But how excited Alex was to come down to Miami and play here for the Hurricanes. I think that the number one catcher in the prospect in the transfer portal decides to commit to Miami. He's a kid, another left-handed hitting catcher. Who's very good behind the dish. Had some injuries, I believe, early on, and I think that when he played us, he was suffering from the flu, and he still went out there and played a little bit, so he was struggling a little bit.
I think he homered against us with the flu.
He might have homered.
I'm pretty sure he homered against us.
Well, they didn't play a third game, but the kid's nasty. The kid's great behind the dish. I just love his actions. I love the way he plays. I love his swing. I think he's going to come in and be a huge addition to that lineup. Just go through that lineup now, position by position, like you mentioned, Vish. Hard to say that infield the whole way around is not one of the best, if not the best in the ACC. With Sosa, you got West, you got Sheehan at second base with Ogden. God willing, he comes back as shortstop. And then Cuvée, your All-American at third base. Jake Ogden, potential All-American. Sheehan could be as well. I mean, there's so many guys there. That lineup right there, right off the bat. And then the outfield, if you bring back Max and Derek, and then you put Mikey, as of right now, you put Mikey in center field. I think you got an opportunity to have a really, really solid lineup in ACC and in college baseball. Now let's get that pitching fixed, right?
Yeah, and Tanner Smith was solid last year. Renzo was, on and off, but these are steps up. And pretty significantly. And yeah, last year it was kind of like you got to wait for the top of the order to come around, and you got Ogden, Max, Daniel, Dorian, because Derek got hurt, and all right, they got to kind of do the damage. So
right.
Building that depth, as CCH said, the depth in the lineup. When you start, okay, we're going to insert like Brylan West and Sosa and Shaheen.
If some of these big names don't get drafted, like a Pizzantine, obviously it's going to be tough to keep him. They might have to dish out a lot of NIL for him, but that's another kid in your lineup that could potentially start over somebody. I mean, he's that good.
Right, and this is where now we're getting into the territory of 1 to 9 threatening other teams, not just waiting for the top of the lineup to come around and be like, all right, we got to wait a couple of innings before we can potentially score again.
Yeah.
And you saw how much of a difference it made just with Mikey kind of stepping up in the postseason. Oh, there's a bat at the end of the lineup now. That's a huge bonus. Like now we can actually score a little bit better. And
it's not only
1 to 9 in there.
It's 10 through 12.
Right,
not only threatening 1 to 9, but threatening in the back end of a game when you need a pinch hit or something. I mean, it's if it's that deep, on paper it looks great. They've got to execute obviously in a game, but if that's the case, then I mean this.
Well, it's everything, like you said. It's the depth. It's the depth past the starting, the starting 9, because that allows you to, in the midweek, all right, we can rotate a bunch of guys in because they can hit 2. Like we didn't have that. Like Cuvée has to play every game because
Yeah,
because he has to play every game because otherwise he's not going to score, right? I mean, it's just so. I mean, and you saw that even in the midweek, right? We struggled if the top of the lineup didn't get anything going, we wouldn't score. Like we get blown out by mediocre competition because of that. So yeah, getting that depth, having injury insurance. Derek gets hurt, we're basically screwed. If he didn't come back for the postseason, we almost certainly don't get out of Hattiesburg. So like we're building in that insurance because someone always gets injured. Like you're not going to have everyone healthy the entire year. That's just not realistic. So having that depth there. But then you look at, to your point, Judge, you look at who we were pinch hitting with, like, guys batting in the hundreds, and this guy doesn't have an RBI, and it's just like these are the pinch hitters. It's problematic. Like it's just, you're trying to make a move here. It's like, all right, we started Gabby in the last game of the season. That's like the level of depth we had. So it's night and day.
Things will change.
But I will say the one caveat to your man, we've talked about this, right? If we retain, Jake, Max, and Derek, if for whatever reason they get drafted and go, then all of a sudden we got a problem again.
I don't know if a problem, but I think that it makes it a little interesting to see what they do with that lineup. I think the lineup will still be strong. Still got guys like Copeland and some other guys there. But
you move Shaheen back to his natural position of short. Let's say if Ogden's not there and you got to plug second base, maybe
potentially Sheen commits a lot of errors, so they still might be looking for a shortstop.
They might. It might be Degati though. It would be
Milano coming in. Milano's
but you never know with these freshmen like how they're going to translate. So the way I view it, and we've had plenty of freshmen come in here and be key players, but if we're relying on a lot of them to make that transition from high school and contribute immediately, we're in trouble. Not that they can't do it, but like we shouldn't. If you're building your roster around, these three freshmen are going to come in and light it up, that's a problem. Because even someone like Arzaga, who was supposed to be, one of the top players in the country, he couldn't get on the field. Then of course you do have your Cuvées, who day one you're like, well, that guy's a pro. There's not like a.
That's not given. There's something you can do there.
Yeah.
Just imagine though. This is my biggest one. My biggest one and my most exciting one, believe it or not, is Mikey Torres was the Dade County Player of the Year last year, if I'm not mistaken, or even Florida Player of the Year. I don't remember, right? And he was known as a home run hitter, a guy that hit a lot of home runs. I think he played at Doral, if I'm not mistaken. Doral's right field is a it's the size of a tennis court. It's not that big, right? But you still got to hit it. You still got to hit it over the fence. But he still hit a lot of home runs. Can you imagine you can extract that and make him start and get him to hit some home runs in college baseball? How nasty Mikey Torres might be as a player. I mean,
I didn't see that level. I mean, again, I know your boy's the strength coach, so maybe he'll build that muscle to be able to muscle it over the wall. But I didn't see that.
They need to fix the swing. If you ask me, they need to fix it.
No, there's issues there. But again, he came around at the end of the year, so hopefully he can build off of that. And again, all for him, sure. If he can show some pop, it's a bonus. Get on base. He's fast as shit. Terrorize the other team. Get on base. Like ideally, he's like Ogden's not he's the leadoff ideally.
Yeah.
Right. If he can get on base consistently, you want him setting the table. Obviously, Ogden had to lead off this year because no one else could hit.
Yeah, but Ogden could be a cleanup guy. He could be a cleanup guy.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's definitely. So ideally, you want Mikey leading off here, getting on base, stealing bases, wreaking havoc, and then turning it over to the rest of the lineup, and then we're gonna have an interesting lineup now because some of the guys that we had at the front, like we mentioned, Derek, and now you got Sosa, you got Brylan West, so there's just. We're going to have guys batting in the 7 hole that are better than the guys we had batting in the 4 hole last year. So it's just it's a night and day difference.
Yeah, Milano's a stud. So let's see if it translates. It needs to translate. That's the bottom line. So
but right now, we can roll, assuming we retain everyone. We retain everyone. We can roll out a starting lineup of experienced, high quality talent from 1 to 9, as well as, again, so we retain everyone, 2/3 of our starting pitching rotation from last year, as well as a first team All CUSA pitcher who throws mid to high 90s and is projected as a high draft pick as our weekend rotation. We still need more depth in the pitching room, but like that is a hell of a starting position to go into the fall ball with.
Bottom line is we need more pitching. Pitching is going to be key for us.
Yeah, I think depth. And like you said, figuring out the closer position, we bounced it through as he said, it was Jackson to start with. And then it was very briefly Will Smith. Then it was Nick, and then Nick got moved out of that role, then got injured.
Yeah.
And then eventually it became Walt. So I think having stability from the opening game there. Right now, there's not an obvious closer on this roster, so figuring that out. And that'll then allow you to kind of layer in the rest of the players in terms of, okay, this is your role. You're the setup guy. You can eat a couple of innings here and there. But yeah, it took us a while to kind of get that role definition last year. We knew kind of Will and Carson Fisher. Robbie was going to come in for a lefty.
To figure out who your Friday, Saturday, like what your rotation is going to look like. Obviously, we know Siscar is going to be in there. We know Tate has an opportunity to be in there. If Robbie Evans sticks around, if he doesn't get drafted early, which I know he entered the draft as well, but that's another kid that can come in and start if he gets some of his issues fixed with his command. He's obviously a kid that can come in and start as well. So you got some options on the team now. But you still need some more. Obviously, Easton is another kid.
I think it's if Easton doesn't go pro, I think he and AJ are 2 of the 3 interchangeably Friday, Saturday, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're gonna each take one of those days, and then Tate has an opportunity to be the Sunday starter, but I don't think he's locked that up yet.
No, he could be a midweek guy.
He could be midweek. He could be in the pen also. Remember, he started in the pen, and he earned that Sunday starter role last year by pitching well out of the bullpen. So maybe they again this pitching room's a bit of a mess right now. There's some very good arms in there, but not enough of them. And so like you mentioned, Lachie needs to, he's pitching well right now. So hopefully he comes back, he becomes an arm that you can rely on. So but we still need more, it feels like, in that room right now.
I agree. And Michael Taylor helps out too.
Michael Taylor helps out, as you mentioned. I don't know what the plan is with Nick Robert, whether they, when he's projected to come back. If it's midseason, they might just, redshirt him to make sure. Because definitely don't want to rush back from a Tommy John. So depending on that, he would be a huge addition to that room. But right now, I'm not counting on him coming back. I don't think you are either. So we're not really, penciling him in anywhere. But obviously, if he comes back, that's probably your closer. He was a closer 2 years ago, Nick Robert.
Yeah.
If he comes back healthy, he's probably your closer, but he would need to be ready from the first game.
Something fun? The draft is July 13th and 14th. So that 14th, we'll have an idea as to how many Canes have been drafted.
Yeah, and who's going to sign and all of that as well. So the lot of guys will get, if they go early rounds, it's generally because they've told teams they're going to sign. So that's a pretty big tip that they're gone. If you see guys that were projected higher that are sliding, it's likely they indicate they're not going to sign. So that'd be good for us. That's So we'll see.
Anyways,
But I will say, Jazz, we did in that, because that post Louisville show, we also did project forward on what we needed to address. So we need another infield. We knew we had Brylan West already at that point, but we had addressed a gap at first base. We said we needed a catcher. We got the best catcher in the country. We said we needed more power arms. We got one. So they're working towards hitting.
Coach Arteaga,
we're obviously geniuses. So everything we said was exactly what they need to do, but they're hitting the marks. They're hitting the marks. Everything we asked for, they've kind of
we got close to records as well.
And I will say never someone like Sosa, it wasn't even in my headspace that we could get someone of that caliber.
Yeah.
When we're we probably need another catcher because Taveras was kind of inconsistent. Don't know if we want, and then we get Sosa. What, are you kidding me? It's they're doing great work. They're doing great work. Yeah, no, I mean this is when we start saying like, we've had a lot of good players and then, not as many like elite players to really fill the roster out, which is kind of why we've fallen short of Omaha. Just like gotten close, danced around it, had some good regular season, but haven't been able to finish it off. Because we're always just like one slump, one guy not producing in a key spot from losing because we're so reliant on a few guys. I mean, they've kind of stepped way over that mark at this point, getting three, that the three infielders they got, Sosa, Shaheen, and Brylan West are all big at the plate guys that'll deliver. So now, if Ogden's like off this game, you don't automatically lose, which is kind of where we were before. I mean, there was a time where Cuvée was just getting all the RBIs. Like,
I mean, there was a moment there where he went from like 40 to like 72. And you're like, what the hell? Where did this come from?
Right. And then, if he's on an off day, you lose automatically because you just don't score enough runs. So, like, that now ability to be able to win games without Cuvée playing well or without Ogden playing well, that's how you win a lot more games, win in the postseason, and ultimately make it to Omaha.
Dominate on the mound, and the rest becomes easy, man.
Yeah, and that's still. I think the arms we do have are really good. We just need more of them.
Before we end, I want to end with something: an ode to your Indian heritage, and the only Indian-born Major League Baseball player is. Do you know?
I have no idea. We do the cricket over here.
Kumar Rocker. Only Indian-born.
Okay, I'm very familiar with Kumar Rocker, but
Kumar Rocker.
Was he born in India? I thought he had like Indian.
Born in India. Born in India.
I didn't realize he was born in. I mean, Kumar's an Indian name. I knew he had Indian heritage, but
oh no, he's of Indian descent. You're right.
Watkinsville, Georgia is not in India, my friend.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think one of his parents is Indian, which is as close as we're going to get to athletics here. So,
okay, all right. He's all right.
Very good at the analytics, though. We got that going.
There is one guy that's going to get drafted this year, actually. That is Indian. His name is Arjun Nimala. He is ranked first on the Major League Baseball's top 25.
I think he was the guy who committed to you. He's from Florida, right?
He's an 86 overall pick in the 2025 draft. Is he born in immigrated to the United States from India as a youth? Played another kid that was, I guess, he was born here also.
Yeah, he was born in Tampa.
Yeah, born in Tampa, Florida. Okay, in shortstop.
Yeah, I mean there is no there. It would be very. It would have to be.
Never mind. Screw that.
It would have to be someone that was like moved to the U.S. as like a baby because there's just no baseball here. It's all cricket.
Arjun Nimala and Kumar Rocker. Those are your two Indian descent.
There are Indian descents. We do play the cricket, so we got it in the genes a little bit. But like there's no baseball infrastructure here. So
he's from Tampa. From Tampa, by the way.
There was a movie about this. Like, obviously, it was a fake, but like,
I remember that movie.
Getting the cricket players to pitch or whatever. Very, very different technique and
a lot.
So does not really translate to baseball, but yeah, they would have to to be born in India and play baseball. They'd have to basically move to the U.S. as a baby because there's no baseball infrastructure. It's all
nothing cricket. There, huh? No baseball at all there.
No, it's cricket, and then like badminton is big.
Badminton. I know there's that sport where they dress in diapers and they slap each other in the chest. They just jump and slap each other a lot in the chest. Is that Indian?
No, is that sumo wrestling? You're talking about the Japanese?
No, it's not sumo wrestling. It's actually
I don't know what you described. That's not. I mean, basically, it's a one.
They do have some martial arts too. They have some taekwondo.
Yeah, but they play field hockey. They do these weird, but it is really
soccer.
It's there's a little bit of soccer, but it's a one sport country. It's cricket. It's cricket. There's cricket. Like all the advertisements are cricket players. It's
no F1 drivers.
There have been in the past, not currently.
All right. The best cricket players, I don't know, but they probably live really nice in India. I guarantee you.
Yeah, crap load. They're on every advertisement. They're just raking it in. Generational wealth. So
gotta learn cricket, man.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no, I mean they are the
they're
rock
like
stars of this country.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Hell yeah.
No, and that is kind of the only sport that people like follow that heavily. And there are people that follow Formula One and soccer and all that, but they're following international. Just like how how many American soccer fans follow MLS versus like the EPL, or it's the same thing here. Like they all like watch English soccer. That's not really no one's watching Indian domestic soccer here.
Anyways, please.
I don't think they make more, but some of them are probably same ballpark, just off of endorsements.
Oh, sure.
Because again, like they're some of them that they're literally like on every commercial and every billboard. So but no, I don't think the base salary. I mean, you can't pay someone that much in this country. It's you purchase the whole country.
Thanks, Vish. I know that it's early morning over there in India where you are, but we got to get some fix. I get it. Also, I know you've got some other shows coming up potentially. I don't know. Are you doing buckets at all? Are you doing anything else?
Yeah, we're coordinating a buckets. We got F1 tomorrow.
I don't know how you do it. Oh yeah, that's right. F1 tomorrow too. The Austrian Open, Austrian Grand Prix. Shit show was this past weekend, so that was a
shit show. It was a 1-2 for the good guys. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 for the good guys. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the good guys. All right. So, anyways, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Check it out on at F1_5 reasons on Twitter and hitting the Apex on YouTube. You'll see it pop up tomorrow, and we'll have some cool F1 stuff for you. But if not, follow us next week. We'll be back for Kings on Deck. We'll see. Maybe we'll wait till the draft. To draft.
Yeah, we'll kind of play if some news breaks or something.
Yeah, if we get another Alex Sosa.
If we get a similar Alex Sosa level commit, we'll probably come on and do a show.
For sure.
If it's kind of steady state, we'll wait until the draft and after the draft, we kind of know who's signed and who's not. We'll dive a lot deeper into our recruiting class, which we haven't really touched on because again, we don't know how much.
CCH on to talk with about
we can bring CCH on and talk about the recruiting class, but we haven't really deep dived into that because you spend a lot of time doing that, and then the next thing they sign, and then it's why did we spend time on that? So once we know they're coming to campus, then we'll definitely talk more about the high school kids.
Safe travels, my friend. Have fun.
Yep.
And if we don't hear from you, happy 4th of July to everybody as well. And totally forgot to mention it on the football show, but stay safe out there. And
hey, baseball is America's pastime, so you're safe for the baseball show.
This is true. Don't lose any fingers, please, this weekend. And stay safe. Fireworks, man. Can't lose any fingers. Especially if you're playing baseball, please. Thank you. All right, we'll see you guys.
See ya.